So, yeah, the AFD, it's Nazis parties, but they are not allowed to be represented in, right now, especially just last week, we had them on the streets of Berlin, I guess, going out, and a lot of people from SPD, they came out, they thought it's outrageous, but they are having a huge rally going on against immigrants and Islam's platforms. And it was founded in 2013, so very, very recent group. Okay, this is Germany and the 16 states. The 16 states you see is 13 states here, and then the 3 city-states, Berlin, Hamburg, and Bremen. These are the 3. Now, we're going to show another map when you see, it's very interesting because East Germany was from here, right? Berlin would fall into East Germany, but Berlin also, inside East Germany, was divided between 2. You could actually pass, you could only get train ticket, pass from here like West Germany, go through East Germany, you just could see it through the train windows, and land in West Germany because it was still occupied by Western governments, which was France, Germany, and United States. And then it was a wall, and it was East Germany. I mean, East Berlin, because you were already inside East Germany.
Where did you live on this map? Are you?
Yeah,
Whereabouts were you?
Just right about north of Hamburg. But my family are from Ryan's Falls here. My grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, and my sisters, they all lived there. You wake up usually this time?
Saturday's me, that's me.
Okay, Germany represents a third type of capitalism. We talked about United States, market capitalism. We talked about Japan, state-controlled capitalism. And this one is social market capitalism. Social market capitalism is like kind of a mixed economy. Like a lot of, you can say actually Germany is 100% mixed economy because if you think about Sweden and Finland and Norway, Denmark, Poland, those are more mixed. Mixed means you have a healthy, basically private sector and a healthy public sector. For example, natural resources, transportations, healthcare, education, all of those are owned by government. And then the rest you can have still your small private or large private businesses too. Such as, for example, IKEA or like Nokia or a lot of Volvo, a lot of companies still, like Swedish companies, they have huge companies too. I'm sorry, Nokia I think is finished. So that's basically when it says like social market capitalism, that means government owns a lot of sectors. So there is a huge public sector as well. The profit motive and pure competition as the sole sources of reference were to be supplemented with rules and regulations. Remember we said United States, we started actually, we're promoting competition, right? Because capitalism needs competition to be innovative, to be basically, to have entrepreneurs, and to have probably Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Germany doesn't have those Steve Jobs and Bill Gates because even though the market is open, but still they are supplemented by government rules and regulations. So there are a lot of, we talked about deregulations, right? When you deregulate, public and private sector has more power, so you can basically take a lot of risky, you can make a lot of risky decisions, businesses, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. And when it's bad and you fail, you have to let a lot of people go, right? So it has both sides. When it's regulated, you don't take a lot of risks. Capitalism is not practiced in an open market, a mixture of state control and private. Wealth gap is far more pronounced in the United States than in Germany. You know that, right? Differences between Japan and Germany. Cradle to grave welfare program in Germany. In Germany, for example, first of all, when a child is born, they give money to the mom as a gift. For the first child, I think at that time, I'm talking about 80s though, okay? 80s, and it was Deutsche Mark still. It was not dollar. It was not euro, sorry. It was not euro. It It was Deutsche Mark. At that time, I remember for first child, they used to give 400 Deutsche Mark, and then second child, 600 Deutsche Mark, and then third child, more and more. The more kids, they pay you more because they wanted population, so that's why they give you a gift. Now, there is a concept called Kindergeld, which is child or kids money or children money, something like that. They always, your kids, until they're 18, whether you're poor or not, you just need to go and ask for the money. They're entitled to receive money, always. And as long as the kid is studying, if after that they're going to university and studying, they're always provided with food and shelter, always by the government. I remember my cousin came here, he's half German, half Iranian, born and raised in Germany. He came here for his PhD dissertation and stayed about 2 years in the state of Washington, and he came here and visited me. Still, all of his basic expenses was paid by German government. He was staying in the state of Washington, food, shelter, everything. So he didn't need to work at all.
Wow.
As long as you're continuing, because like it's like you're gonna go back to society and contribute to society, which he did. Like for last 15 years, he's like university professor. But he studied physics. That's why it was the best. Apparently, he found in the state of Washington. It was an institute that did research, so he wanted to go there to do his research, complete his research. And for about 2 years, he stayed there, and it was paid, fully paid for it. Instead of loans that, like me, I have to pay loans probably for the rest of my life. I think my loan is actually bigger than my mortgage, honestly. Seriously.
Sure.
So that's one of the now for Japan, who pays for it? Remember we talked about it.
The CEO.
Exactly.
Private companies, private.
Companies, yeah,
Private.
companies pay for it. In Japan, there is a weak, small and medium-sized enterprises. However, in Germany, there is small and medium, the small and medium-sized enterprises are a strong sector, and they are called Mittelstand. Mittelstand actually is Mittelstand basically exactly means middle, not middleman, but middle business, something like that. But it's huge. Small businesses are the backbone of German economy. Here too, of course, here small businesses are very important, but it's way more strong in Germany. Most stable financial system in the world they have, as far as stability. Not whose number is higher, because United States number is higher as far as GDP, but we're talking about stability. If your number is higher, but your debt is higher than that, so that's not very stable. Japan's economy is insular and does not open to the outside world. However, Germans, they got However, Germans received, they're basically Japanese don't want to receive immigrants. They replaced the workers with robots, but Germans actually are open to immigrants, and late 1990s they changed the laws, rules and regulations, immigration regulations, and they are receiving, if you were even born in Germany, even though that's very interesting, if you were born in Germany, you were not a German citizen, but you were qualified to receive that Kindergeld, like the money. Even the mom wasn't a German citizen, she would receive basically the money, like the gift money that they would receive. But late 1990s they changed it, and everybody born there will be German citizen, and immigrants will stay there. Just like here, after a couple years you become German citizen. So they changed it completely. But Japan did it. This is their major difference, Japan and Germany. Now let's talk about German reunification. When I was there, again, it was West Germany, East Germany. The world was much more practicing, we can't say protectionism, but as Trump said it this morning, he said, we're not practicing protectionism, but patriotism. So it was probably patriotism. I don't know if you guys have heard the speech that said that we're not going global, we don't like to
I saw it
go
this morning.
global.
I remember the part where everyone laughed at him.
You like it?
Well, no. I was reading, I was watching like a video on Trump speaking with the UNs and everyone laughed at him.
Oh, everyone did. No, because I didn't see it. I just I just heard the report. Oh, did. Wow.
Everyone
It's
did.
just because he
It's funny.
said, "Oh, America's doing
Yeah.
this so great,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Like,
we're
he's
like
waiting for a
America is the
response.
best. That's why we don't need any other country. And then we're not gonna go global because this is called. He doesn't want to say protectionism, but patriotism. So that's why we want to like cut off basically relationship with other countries and all that. And we want to be like independent and go back to what we were as a strong country and all that. And he also wanted to pull out of World Trade Organization, which is the largest trading organization in the world.
Yeah.
Everything is under World Trade Organization. All countries belong to World Trade Organization. He wanted to pull out about 2 months ago, but his advisors basically told him it is not a good idea. But he did announce it, that one of my basically platforms is to pull out of, leave World Trade Organization. Now he says, the other thing he said like something about UN, like the United States doesn't need UN, or UN needs United States money, we don't need other countries part of UN, so something like that. So at that time, basically, world in 1980s world was like that. Countries were more like isolated than what we see today. Even at that time, like traveling around the world was a lot less than right now, right? So when I was there, it was West Germany, East Germany. The country was pure German, and it was a lot of racism, I have to tell you. Now, I have to correct myself, I'm sorry. It was not racism. It was just, it's actually not race. It's patriotism, let's put it that way. It's not race because they are fine, or they used to be fine with black people. That's why I'm calling it not race. But they didn't like us, which was Middle Eastern, which were white too. So that's why I cannot call it race. They just had problems with, I guess, like certain part of the world. That's all. But they were actually fine with black people. Black people, I think, could assimilate in that culture better than here. But that's only my opinion from a outsider's point of view. If you ask a black person, probably they have a better view saying that was better or this was better. Don't quote me on it, I don't know. But right now, of course, after globalization, opening the world, becoming a part of European Union, East Germany is they're one country, a lot of refugees, a lot of Bulgarians, Romanians, everybody from other countries join Germany because it's part of one treaty, part of European Union. So it's a lot of changes, 40 years wall was torn down. Unification after collapse of Soviet Union under the pressure of East German population. Common heritage, they have common heritage, they're the same people. However, it developed in two complete different ways for 40 years, right? In 1949, East Germany, GDR, and West Germany, FRG, both went, this is German Democratic Republic, Federal Republic of Germany. Both went two separate ways for the next 40 years. Now, extreme different ways. One went to like capitalism or open market, and then the other towards communism and complete state control society. If you go to East Germany, like all the houses at that time, right now they've changed completely. But at that time, like all the houses are same. They all look the same houses. Everybody lives in the same type of houses. There are not many cars, or very, very old, extremely old, small cars, just like Cuba right now. But because they have good public transportation, they wouldn't even use cars. Everybody's working now. Uniforms, everybody, this is actually for all communist countries. Don't look at Cuba because everybody can have different clothing and all that. Soviet Union, East Germany, North Korea right now, those are good examples to look into. Like everybody has the same uniform because there's no shops that you go ahead and buy. It's like government stores, right? You go ahead and buy there, and people who are working there, they're government employees. So there's certain clothing that you can buy. Like nobody imports or exports. There is no production. It's just government. So they basically choose for you what to wear, and that's why everybody looks exactly the same. As we talked about Soviet Union, your food is basically based on your share, like coupons basically you have throughout the day, and you consume those. It's not like you have different fancy foods or lobster or whatever. So everything basically looks the same. And imagine that type of environment, all of a sudden the German, very advanced country, extremely advanced country, highly educated country, very clean, with all, and by the way, Germans per capita, they're number one around the world who travel. So they travel all around the world. When I was there too, like 30 years ago, it was always German. They had a backpack traveling all around the world. And when I say all around the world, it's not like picking and choosing, oh, this country looks nice, that country. They want to learn about everything. So they go everywhere all around the world just to learn about everything. Imagine that type of culture, all of a sudden with East German. When they planned it,
A comparison of East Germany and West Germany. Body reunification of Germany in 1990.
so when they actually merged together, when they reunified, the crime rate went up because of the huge gap between poor and rich. They wanted to have the same thing that West Germans have it. So the crime rate, the first thing that happened, crime rates went up. And what government of Germany did, they put a lot of money and budget towards East Germany's development. A lot of budget for East Germany's development, for educating them. So basically privatizing the businesses so people can have their own business. But the problem was that West German citizens, for a while, for a long time, they were pissed off. They're like, it's all the taxes that you increase it and then you give it only to them because they have to be, as a country, they have to become balanced eventually. So it was a lot of money that went only towards East Germany for many years. Okay, comparison of East Germany and West Germany. Agriculture. East Germany before the war was a center of food production due to its land fertility. West Germany's agriculture production exceeded that of East Germany after war. So even their agriculture went down. Because remember, in Russia, in Soviet Union, not Russia, I'm sorry. In Soviet Union, after the World War II, what they did, they put all the budget they had towards military. And as a matter of fact, they abolished agriculture industry completely. That's why a lot of people were not happy about it because they couldn't, in the beginning, between World War I and II, the group Bolsheviks came and said, okay, we're gonna give your lands, the lands to peasants, blah, blah. But after World War II, when the communist government took over, they literally, like, it was no budget, no attention, nothing to, much to agriculture at all. And then eventually, little by little, it went so down, they don't have much agriculture. Yes.
Question: when they unified again, did they totally kick the Soviet Union out? The system was like.
It was after the Soviet Union collapsed.
Okay, so they just had no choice.
Yeah, exactly. Soviet Union collapsed first, and then long after, like about a year or two after that, this happened. No, as long as Soviet Union was around, they couldn't do that. So that's why agriculture, because Soviet Unions, their main basically focus was only to focus on military budgets. That's it. Industry. East Germany fell tremendously behind, especially about transportation. West Germany has, and right now Germany has one of the most developed transportation systems in the world. First is Singapore, second is Germany, third is Japan. Stable control by East Germany. Living standards, rents, transportation, and some basic necessities were subsidized by the government, again, because the government pays for your everything, which had no relation to the cost of production. You know, it's very interesting. The cost of production, because government produces everything for you, right? The cost might be higher actually, but doesn't matter. They're just gonna give you free, because that's how communism works. Government produces, everybody uses. You don't have any competition. There are not other competitors in the market. You don't import, you don't export, you just don't do anything. That's government's budget. That's it. TV sets, phones, and cars were not considered necessities, so therefore they didn't have these. Government offers only necessities. Just hair clothing and Yeah, shoes and then food and shelter, necessities. I actually watched, I think it was a while back, I was in San Francisco at the conference. I was in my room and I watched a channel that is talking inside from North Korea. And I'm like, what channel is that? So I looked and it was RT, which is Russian TV. I had no idea we even have Russian TV here. But it was actually airing in San Francisco. It's RT. It was inside North Korea. It was a fascinating documentary, very weird, and it reminds me on what I saw over there, what I watched. The entire country, women and men, they have the same clothing. Like the reporter would just go around and all that, right? Everybody had, women had dark suits and men had like dark like pants, suit and jacket and all that. They all had, the kids actually had the same covers, blanket around them. It's very cold in North Korea. So the reporter says, let's go to your house. So it's very interesting because yesterday I was listening to almost something similar on radio too, and they said exactly the same thing. It says it goes to people's house. First of all, everybody when they start, they have to say we're really appreciative of our leader. Our leader is the best in the world. We know that the United States is actually spreading propaganda. Our country is the best. We have everything. We don't need to be working so hard. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that because everything is provided to us by our leader, and we're very appreciative. So, and then they take him, the reporter, to their house, and always the picture of the leader must be everywhere, right? In their house and all that. So, and they're sitting on the floor, and she keeps saying like 100 times, like, how we're appreciative of our leader. He gave us this like this house, and we're sitting here like literally on the floor. And then in one of the rooms, it was just one small bed, and she says how much we're appreciative. We have this bed from our leader and all that. And then they walk her to her work. Let's go to work. So she goes to work. 100 times she kept saying that we're so appreciative, we're going to work and all day, even though they're not making anything. So she goes to work, and then in work, basically, she was just part of like assembly line manufacturing. So the same thing. On the way, they're seeing like a couple soldiers. They start talking to soldiers, and the soldiers say actually how we are actually loyal to our leader, and United States propaganda is spread all around the world. We understand that, but we have everything here. You see us all laughing and all that, blah blah. But it was very interesting. After it shows all of these, now the basically the critics that are talking about it, they say the reporter comes out and they're talking to critics. And like everybody's lying because they know they're in national TV, right? They can't do other than that. Now the other thing is that the reporter, they only go to the country as soon as they pass. You know, there is a line between South Korea and North Korea that for like all the time they're just watching each other like this, right? So it says from that when the line passes, they have to be followed by a government agent. So even the reporter that just goes around talks to people, the government agent is next to him, and they expect like people say something else otherwise, so of course people are not gonna say that, right? And the government agent follows them everywhere. They just can ask, oh, how do you feel and all that. The questions is being given to them. You just ask these questions, and the answers are like, we're perfect, everything is great. So they can't say anything. Now, there are actually a few North Koreans that can come to cross the border, come to South Korea, which they will be persecuted, their family will be executed entirely, so they have to be very, very cautious. But it has happened 2 or 3 that have done this. They always say that how brutal the winters are. There is no actually heating system. Like throughout the winter, they're freezing cold.
They're so thin. There's no meat on them, do they?
Probably because of a lack of nutrition, right?
Yeah.
So
It's just like that.
there is actually always cold. They get really sick. Not a lot of. They can only go to like family doctors. They don't have like specialists and all that to go and see what's going on. Kids are always basically nutrition. Yeah, they're suffering from malnutrition. They are so a lot of things, but the ones that escape only come and say that. The poverty rate, how much they don't have food, the energy, like heating system, anything that they don't have, they only come out and say it. When they're there, they always say it was great, very good. So that's exactly an example of how East Germany was. Exactly the same things. East Germany, Soviet Union, and North Korea right now. When you see Cuba, Cuba is a little bit, just a little bit better than over there. Economic and social cost of reunification. Verraten and verkauft. Verraten is basically cheated on, and verkauft is being sold. Deep dependency on the state, unemployment was non-existent, conformity and uniformity, future was secured. These are East Germans' citizens' complaint. You promised us a lot of good things, but you cheated on us and you sold us to the idea. Now they're saying our future was secure. We didn't need to think about our future, even though in West Germany their future is way more secure than us in the United States, right? Even though with that, they don't like it because they believe like East Germany was so secure, of course. Unemployment was non-existent, yes. There was no unemployment because everybody's working for government. Everybody has one employer and that's government. Conformity and uniformity, everybody was doing the same thing, and they had deep dependency on the state, which makes you a little bit more comfortable. Not much pressure, but it completely, basically, competition is completely non-existent, right? Right now, it's more open market, Western society, just like West Germany, just like United States, but again, they have a huge, healthy public sector as well, as we talked about. The reunification had an estimated cost of 650 billion in the beginning of the century. West German taxpayers hate the fact that to bear the cost of reunification, which was paid all by West German citizens. Now, West Germans actually, as a matter of fact, you know that they're paying after European Union, they're paying a lot for, they bailed out Greece, for example, right? They helped Portugal, Italy, because they're the strongest economy in Europe, and they're the most stable, they have the most stable financial system. So they bail out all of those countries, and that's why German people, taxpayers, basically say, well, I would do the same thing, risk the same thing as Greece do if they knew they have a German citizen that works always hard and pays all the taxes to basically bail out the entire European Union. They're extremely hard workers and their tax is very high. As it goes high in Europe, like Sweden, Finland, Norway, all those countries that are Northern Europe, they actually pay up to 60%, 65% of taxes. They take home only 30% or 35%. Benefits of reunification. East German standard of living increased. East Germany has one of the highest standards of roads, ports, and transportation now. In 1999, the capital of Germany was moved from Bonn to Berlin, which is the heart of East Germany. Berlin was the capital of East Germany. Bonn was the capital of West Germany. But after reunification, they actually transferred the entire country's capital to Berlin. The German economy, Mittelstand, 2/3 of employment. We talked about Mittelstand, like small businesses. Best vocational in the world. That's why I talked about it, like the system Amany-Cultural. That's why they have they have the best vocational system in the world. Banking, commercial bank, the same as investment banks. Here we have two types of banks. You guys have probably Merrill Lynch or whatever. All of those are investment banks, and then we have like Bank of America, which is commercial banks, right? And those are commercial banks. Over there is the same system. Commercial banks and investment banks are the same. Here, one of my that's what I think. I think that one of our major problems is investment banks. They should be the same as commercial banks. Co-determination, that's basically their labor union, the relationship between labor and management. They have an extremely strong labor unions. Board must have 1/2 of board of directors. Half of the board of directors must be workers, working basically in a factory. Must be workers. Here, interestingly enough, they will actually. I was working for a private university, a huge private university. They sent out an email. Do you know someone that would like to be on our basically board members? And then you send a couple of recommendations like blah blah doctor, blah blah CEO, whatever, and they actually pick them on them. So what kind of work? Like how can they decide for me and employees? You see what I'm saying? like they have no idea. One is physician, one is an attorney, one is a CEO, and they have to decide what I should do there. It just doesn't make any sense, right? So, but that's how it works here, I guess. And then those board of directors elect the CEO. But over there, it's not like that. Half of them must be from the workers.
That's good.
Vocational education, high school dropouts are 8 times more in the United States than Germany. Social security and other welfare measures, health insurance, free education, extensive unemployment system, and Kindergeld. Kindergeld is the one that I talked about, like the children's money that they receive. Kinder means child, which is kindergarten. We say kindergarten, which is the garden for kids. And then Geld is money. Extensive unemployment system. Unemployment system is actually as long as you don't find a job, you're actually being paid. So it's a very extensive one. I remember my aunts and my grandparents, they lived in south of Florence, a little bit south of Germany. And her house was a big, actually, garden, and then literally the wall of unemployment agency was there. And at that time, it was early 80s, it was not like online banking or anything, so people would actually go there every other week to get their checks. Okay? And it was a very small town. And I remember for years, and my aunt would actually stay there and talk to them, right? To the unemployed people. So for many years, so she's talking to the same guy. I'm like, auntie, like, still the guy is coming picking up his check, like, why doesn't he? She's like, yeah, because he's covered. He can pick up his check as long as he doesn't have job. So if he doesn't look for a job really, that's fine, I guess, they would pay for him. Especially at that time, which was not European Union, not East Germany, the welfare was way more better. Health insurance was 100% for free for everybody, legal, illegal, immigrants, whatever. It was 100% free for everybody. Later, right now, my sister actually says the other time when I saw her, she came here, we were talking about the health insurance. She was like, oh, I don't think it's the same thing. Everything has changed. But the way she explained it to me, it's like right now it's kind of like the Affordable Care Act that we have depends on your income. So if you have an income right now over there, depending on your income, you have to pay. But other people are still covered. But if you have an income, certain income and above bracket, you have to pay for yourself. An evaluation of the German economy. Okay, Marshall Plan 8. Actually, after World War II, Japan and Germany, I always compare with each other because they look very similar in terms of the history, two small countries, no natural resources, and then all of a sudden they became world powers. After World War II, Japan and Germany both were defeated countries. So what happened, the United States tried to help them.